Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Today I'm doing an ingredient prep for my Thanksgiving recipes. I'm hosting a few friends at my house, so naturally I'm gonna make every single Thanksgiving recipe there is. It is such a huge help to do a good prep beforehand. Seriously, it saves so much time. First step when hosting a holiday gathering is to aggressively clean every square inch of the house that nobody will ever notice or see. So in good fashion, I brought out my steam mop and I'm steam mopping the oven, walls, and might as well do the fridge while we're at it too. Here is a funny, but not very funny story time. I filmed 2 Thanksgiving recipe videos and I was so excited to share them with you. The food came out absolutely fire. And then I went to watch the footage back and I realized they were both filmed in slow motion with no sound. So I didn't have time to remake all those recipes and I figured I would just do this ingredient prep video. And then I watched this footage back and realized it also was filmed in slow motion with no sound. So sorry if this video is a little glitchy. I also added back sound effects into this video to make it a little more interesting. Anyways, I'll show you what I'm gonna be prepping for Thanksgiving and tell you all the stuff I'm gonna make. I headed to the farmer's market to pick up my produce for Thanksgiving, so I'll show you what I'm planning on making a whole feast. I just love making like classic Thanksgiving recipes and turning them dairy-free and healthier. So I wanna go all out this year and make an entire spread. I picked up a bunch of carrots. These are my favorite carrots. Look how big they are. Those are for my lentil loaf. And then I picked up some pie pumpkins. I've been craving a pumpkin pie, so I definitely want to make that. We have some organic green beans for the green bean casserole. I got some honey nut squash. I absolutely love mashed butternut squash for Thanksgiving, and the honey nut squash is so sweet. And of course we have some potatoes for mashed potatoes. The cabbage is just for like my own salad I'm gonna make during the week later on. And then I got some greens. I wanna do creamed kale. Probably sounds disgusting to most people, but that's like one of my favorite dishes I like to make. These mushrooms are for my lentil mushroom loaf I'm gonna make. So for the first part of my prep, I'm just gonna wash off all this produce so it's ready to use. I'm using this fruit and veggie wash. It does such a good job at taking off any like dirt and bugs. I'm prepping these green beans to use in my green bean casserole. Green bean casserole has to be like the most American dish known to man. What a unique recipe. Green beans with cream of mushroom soup and fried onions. Like, I would love to know who ever thought of that. I feel like you cannot have Thanksgiving without green bean casserole. I filmed a green bean casserole recipe. The one that ended up being in slow motion came out so good. I made my own cream of mushroom soup from scratch. I'm thinking about posting those recipes in like a holiday recipes video later on. I'm using these flax linen produce bags to store my produce instead of using like plastic bags. They're called ambrosia bags, and this isn't sponsored, but I feel like this would make such a good gift for the holidays. It's like a small business, and for anyone you know who likes cooking and is trying to like reduce plastic. These bags are also perfect for storing mushrooms. I'm not gonna wash or prep my mushrooms until I go to use them, so I'm just storing them in this linen bag and it's gonna keep them nice and fresh. This is what I'm gonna be making: lentil loaf with mushroom gravy. It came out really good. Look at this slow-mo footage. It makes me laugh because I can't believe all this video got messed up. But yeah, I'll share these recipes in like a holiday recipes video later on. Next, I'm prepping these greens. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna do a creamed greens recipe. I think last year or the year before I posted my creamed kale casserole. Sounds gross, but I like it, okay? So I steam the greens, chopped up really small, and then mix it with a creamy cashew sauce, and it's really good. And this salad I'm just prepping for my own personal salads later on in the week. I feel like a salad is not necessary on Thanksgiving. And then I'm just giving these carrots a good scrub. I'm gonna use these in my lentil loaf. And I decided just to mince some of those up as well, so they'll be all ready to use when I make my lentil loaf. These bags that I'm using are reusable silicone bags. They're really easy to clean out, and I like that they stand up on their own, so I like using them for food prep. I also diced up some celery. This is gonna go in my stuffing and my lentil loaf. This will just be one less thing to chop up on actual Thanksgiving. I can't even remember the last time I had a pumpkin pie. It has been far too long, and I love pumpkin pie, so I decided I really want to make one this year. I'm using fresh pumpkin that I'm gonna pressure cook in my Instant Pot using a steamer rack. I just layered it all in there and then put 2 cups of water in the bottom, and I steamed it for 10 minutes. Then when it was done, I had to wait for it to cool down, and then I just scooped out the pumpkin with the spoon. After you pressure cook it, the skin gets really soft, so you can technically blend up the skin, but this is not an organic pumpkin, so I didn't want to eat it. So I just scooped it out, and then I blended it up in my Vitamix to get it really smooth, and then tomorrow I will make my pumpkin pie. Next, I'm cooking the lentils for my lentil loaf. I feel like this works best if you do it a day ahead of time. If you do it the same day, the loaf comes out like more wet and mushy. So I'm using 1.5 cups of lentils. I didn't have enough green lentils, so I'm using some black lentils as well. And this is gonna give me 3 cups of cooked lentils for my loaf, and I just gave those a good rinse. Tossed them in my Instant Pot with, wow, I didn't realize how slow-mo this video is also. Certain things look really slow-mo, but other stuff looks kind of normal. So I don't know what happened with this video, but I added 2 cups of water per 1.5 cups of lentils, a bunch of this Italian sofrito seasoning from Trader Joe's. I meant to use veggie broth to cook these, but I forgot to add it. I've been pressure cooking these for 8 minutes with a quick release, and they've been coming out perfect. So I just let these cook while I'm making some breadcrumbs. I make my own breadcrumbs using Ezekiel bread. I feel like this is like the healthiest breadcrumb you could put in a recipe. Ezekiel bread is a sprouted grain bread that's lower glycemic. It has like lentils, millet, a bunch of other things. So I tossed those in the oven at 325 for like 25 minutes until they come out super, super dry. And then once those are done, I just blitz them up in my Vitamix to make breadcrumbs. Oh, but I also had the idea to make stuffing, so I'm putting in extra breadcrumbs to do stuffing as well. My Thanksgiving menu this year is gonna be so crazy, and there's only gonna be like 4 of us, but I'm just really in the mood to make a ton of food. It's like fun for me, so I just feel like going all out this year. I'm thinking of doing a video like everything I made for Thanksgiving and recording tomorrow, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. I chopped up the honey nut / butternut squash. My dad always made the best butternut squash mashed with like cinnamon, brown sugar, and it just tasted so good. So I feel like I need to make that every year because it was one of my favorites. And that is all prepped. All I'm gonna do is boil that. Oh, or maybe I'll make it in my Instant Pot. Having 2 Instant Pots is such a lifesaver when baking or cooking for the holidays, because like usually you run out of stovetop and oven space, but if you have the Instant Pots, you have so much more room. And then I was thinking, I don't think we have enough greens for my creamed greens recipe, so I'm gonna go pick some collard greens, and I gave those a good wash in my new sink. Have you guys noticed I got a new stainless steel sink because my other one was cracked and I could never fill it up this way to wash the stuff in it. Although I don't really like this stainless steel sink, I really miss my old one because this one is an inch shallower, and that inch makes such a big difference, like in terms of splash. Yeah, I just miss my old sink, honestly, even though it was kind of old and cracked. Okay, so this is how the breadcrumbs turned out. You want them to be super dry and like snap when you break them. And then I usually just blend them up in my Vitamix, but I didn't want to, these were like so hard, like little rock shards, and I thought I would scratch my Vitamix if I blend it up, so I'm trying to bash it with a rolling pin, and it didn't work out very well. But yeah, I'm gonna use this for breadcrumbs and make a small stuffing recipe. Colin told me his favorite Thanksgiving recipe is stuffing, so I feel like I need to make that. And then once the lentils had cooled down, I put those away. I made such a good lentil loaf. I can't wait to share the recipe with you. Okay, and then one last thing I'm gonna prep ahead of time is the cream sauce for my green bean casserole and my creamed kale. I use this as a base in so many of my creamy soups. If you want a creamy dairy-free soup, I use a combination of cashews. Well, I'm doing half cashews, half hemp seeds, white beans, like white cannellini beans, And then I decided to throw some seasonings in there as well. So I added in liquid aminos, garlic and onion powder, a little bit of nooch, and Dijon mustard. And then I just blended that up with water, and I'm gonna use this as a base for my recipes tomorrow. Okay, and that is everything I prepped. Mostly just a lot of chopping. Let me know if I should film everything I make tomorrow. I could post like a everything I cooked on Thanksgiving video, although that kind of sounds like a lot of work, so I don't know if I'm actually committing to that. I will post my other recipes soon. I'm probably gonna refilm them because the video is like in slow motion. You guys are never gonna believe this. I filmed an outro for this video and once again, it was in slow motion. So this is me telling you to have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for watching my videos. I am so thankful for you guys and this community I have on here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!